So now what I want to do is update our error pages to look like this example. That is the cover example right in Git Bootstrap. So what I want to do is view this page source, and I'm going to be emulating a lot of this stuff. So the first thing I want to do is save that cover.css inside of my static files as CSS and then cover.css. So if we look into our project, cover.css is now there. Okay, cool. So this also means that inside of my templates, I'm going to make a new one called css.html, or rather head_css.html. So then in my base.html, I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. Cut those out. And then inside of head.css, I'm going to paste those in. And then finally, I'll put in js.html, go into the base, cut out the JavaScript. I might want to have all of my functions cut out. That is a possibility, but the main thing here was our URL stuff. So I'm not going to actually cut out the other JavaScript related stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and cut just the main linked things that we want. And then back into base, I'll just include those now. So include js.html. And then above, up here, we're just going to do include, and I'll call this head_css.html. Inside of head CSS, I'm actually going to put these things in there too, just because we want to make sure that we have that. It is JavaScript stuff related actually, but it is related to the head document itself. Up here, I'm going to change the title to be knock HQ. Okay, so now we've got some of our basic HTML stuff not being a whole lot different depending on what we're going to end up using. So now what I'm going to do is into my templates, I'm going to call this error_base.html. And inside of here, I'm actually going to copy the source from that cover source, which is this. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these, as well as all this, and then include head css.html. And then I'm going to scroll to the bottom, get rid of all of the JavaScript stuff, and include js.html. Okay, and then I want to load in static, so load static. And here we're going to put static css/cover css. Okay, and now the block content is going to be related to this. So cover, which would be knock HQ, and this is our home page, right? So actually where we want it to go. So I'll just do a href equals to the home page or the main URL page. I'm going to get rid of this UL class because I actually don't need the navigation here. But what I will put in is the block error title in block, and then block error description, and in block, get rid of this lead class here, get rid of the footer. We actually don't necessarily need the footer. Actually, I will keep it, but I'm not going to have the links that are on there. Instead, I'll just do a href equals to slash, and we'll just do knock HQ or whatever your brand is. Okay, there we go. This is now our base for our errors, right? So this is what it's going to be. I'm going to get rid of this fave icon stuff. Oops. Fave icon here. And in the title, I'll say block title in block and knock HQ. Actually, let's put the knock HQ inside of these block titles, and I'm going to put that also on base as well. Okay, so now in error 500, instead of what it is currently, we're going to actually import from error base, and then we'll do that block title stuff, and we'll just say 500 error and block.super right here, which will give us that knock HQ stuff, and then block error title. Just going to have that one. So I'll go ahead and copy this, put it into the 400. This is a 404 error. and then block, what would we call it? We called it, I think, block error description. Add that in 400, and we'll say page not found. Copy this whole thing, bring it into error 400, and go ahead and delete that. Okay, so now we've got our error messages being just a little bit different. I'm going to leave out this meta stuff. You can change that later if you wanted. Okay, so now that I've got this, I actually have new updated error messages. So if I do git status, git add -- all, git commit, updated error messages. I also want to do python manage.py, collect static. Say yes, git status, git add -- all, git commit, update cover CSS, git push Heroku master. And while that's running, basically we want to come here and we want to be able to go to some sort of error page. This will actually look a little bit better, or it should look a little bit better. Now, of course, testing this locally is not always that easy to do, because when you have the debug on here, that's what happens. So what we can do is in our local, we can do template debug. Equaling to false. And that changed. So let's go back down. Template debug is a little different now. So I'm going to actually search that. So Django template debug false. Settings and template debug. Looks like we don't actually have that setting anymore. And that looks like it is a little change from old versions. But anyway, so here's now that knock HQ stuff for the 400 error if it's not showing up. Looks like we have an error with our actual base.html. It's possible that we didn't save it. So let's go back into base and save it. Git status. Looks like it's okay. So head.html. Oh, we didn't load the static file in here, so load static. Otherwise, this part is raising an error. So let's go ahead and now do it. Git status. We also probably need to do that for JavaScript. No, we don't, but we will do it just because there's a chance that you might have to do it later if you had your own custom JavaScript. So we might as well just add it in. Git status, git add, git commit, update head CSS, git push Heroku master. And let's look back for that template debug. After a little bit of testing, I actually found that you could put debug in the options key on your local down here. Inside of options, you can say debug equals to false. That's technically how you're supposed to do it, but it doesn't actually change anything. So for whatever reason, I'm not able to debug the templates. So if this is something you guys are able to find later, please let us know. Otherwise, if we go back to knock HQ, of course, looks like it's working fine. If I do a page not found, I get this error page, which is based off of that cover page. It's not exactly perfect, but it is there. And the reason it's not perfect has to do with that padding that we had in main CSS. So if we go to the head or the body tag right here, we should see this padding top. So if I got rid of that, that would actually handle that for us. So going back into our 400 page, or rather back into cover.css, we'll just say body, and we'll do padding top 0 pixels and padding bottom 0 pixels as well. We'll save that, and then I'll run python manage.py, collect static, say yes, git status, git add, git commit, updated cover CSS, git push Heroku master. That should override that one from main, because cover should be coming second on the error page, right? So we have cover here where all of the other stuff from head.css, which includes main.css, right up there. So that's some little issues with our CSS there. As far as testing these pages out, now you actually do have them working at least to some degree, so they are showing us what knock HQ error page would look like. You could obviously put a bunch of other stuff in here than what we see, but that's it. That's it for styling our error pages. If you have any questions on what we did here, let us know. We do want to make sure that CSS came through, and there it is. It's working just fine. All right, so we'll see you in the next one.